All right, we're gonna take a look at how to use your abdominals to flex up from laying on the floor, also known as supine. We're gonna look at how the abdominals work because that's an important part of Pilates, is to get the abdominals to work to bring your upper body off the floor. Often clients will have too much tension in the neck, either because their abdominals are too weak or just because they don't understand the right placement of the head, neck, cervical spine. We don't want clients to have a six-pack neck, we want them to have more abdominal strength. So we want to make sure that these neck flexors aren't, bulging out of the front of their neck as they move. So Claire here is going to come up into what's like a abdominal prep exercise, but she's going to do it wrong. So will you just lift your head and lift your arms off the floor into a low hover? So what I want you to notice is that mostly she's just flexing at the neck. She's not actually changed the distance between the ribs and the hips very much, or creating more thoracic flexion. So then you lower back down. And so when this happens, it's tempting to just tell the client, oh, put your hands behind your head because that'll support your neck. So let's see what that looks like. So her hands are gonna come back and then do basically it wrong, again, the same way. So then you still get the same problem. You've added weight to the lever of the upper body, so the abdominals would have to be stronger, but now she maybe doesn't feel tension in her neck, but she's still just flexing her neck and kind of jamming her chin into her chest. So I don't love that. You're gonna lower back down. She's obviously strong enough that she can do this correctly, but a lot of times the clients that feel tension in the neck, they aren't strong enough through the abdominals, and that's part of the problem. So I bought a few props with me to try out. So if you could roll to your side or grab behind your legs, sit up, and then I'm gonna put the arc barrel, and I want your shoulder blades to be on the arc barrel. So yeah, scooch up a little bit more. And so wherever she's least likely to want to flex is kind of where I need her to flex. I want her head to be able to be vertical. Does that feel like tension in your neck?
No.
Okay. So that looks like a good position. We could even have her move her pelvis towards neutral, so the other direction. There. And then maybe move up just a tiny bit on the barrel. Yeah. So we have this as an option to have this flexed position. That looks even better.
Yeah, that feels good.
Good. So we could have her work here. Legs could lift to tabletop. We could do single leg stretch. She could even touch the sides of the head. Usually that's not necessary. The other option here is if you scooch forward and down, you could also do this so that somebody's head was all the way down on the barrel and they were supported. What's challenging here though is you still want the beginning of thoracic flexion. So scoop back just a little bit. Yeah, there you go. And you might have to put pads underneath the head, so now rest your head on my hand. I would use a pad back here to help get her into the beginning of thoracic flexion with her head supported on the barrel. And then set your head back down. Okay, so then let's progress this. So grab behind one leg and come up to sitting. And from there, we could add the ball behind the thoracic. So round back through your back. And I want it kind of by the bottom of the shoulder blade. So here she is. So this is a nice challenge for her. This would be hard, even though she is really strong, because it's unstable. So it's gonna be moving a little bit side to side. She's gonna have to stay there. What tends to happen is people just put the ball kind of where they're comfortable and they let their ribs extend like that. So that's not helping her build thoracic flexion. So you have to make sure you find a place where the ball can be and that she actually is shortening the distance between the ribs and the hips here. Internal, external obliques are working to do that, as well as transverse abdominis to maintain the stability of the torso and decrease the diameter of the abdomen. Okay, so then we could do any of our abdominal exercises here. Then she's in a nicer relationship both with the barrel and with the ball to gravity. In both, we want her head vertical with no tension in the neck, and she's there. So that's how I'm gonna choose where I need her to be positioned on the ball or the barrel, is making sure that thoracic flexion and head vertical. So then you can sit up again. Once we've progressed from there, you can come all the way to laying on your back. And this is a way that we can begin to help her with gravity working straight down on her. She's in a more challenging relationship with gravity than with the barrel or the ball. So I'm gonna have you put this behind your head. So lift your head up It kind of feels a little dorky like headgear there. And then grab a hold of the circle like this in front of you. And what I want you to do is keep neutral pelvis and use your arms and your shoulders to help you lift your upper body up. So come up into leave your head resting in the circle. Yes, use your arms, so you're gonna lift this up. There we go. And so what we've done is by doing this, her arms are a little more in front of her. It's making the lever a little lighter, and then lower back down, and let's take the elbows a little wider there. And now flex up. So I want to see this shortening of ribs to hips if she's doing thoracic flexion, which is the goal here, and then lowering back down. So now we've supported her head. I'm going to take this out from underneath your head. We're progressing one more challenge here. So bring your hands behind your head. When your hands are behind your head, I usually tell people not to interlace the hands. And then what really needs to happen is, because the rib cage is a rounded surface, it's not flat, the elbows need to be pointed slightly up so that the shoulder blades are protracted a little bit in order to come up into thoracic flexion. So now I still want to see these this shortening of ribs to hips as she exhales to come up, shortening here, and then as she lowers back down, she thinks of maintaining this relationship so we don't get the ribs popping up. One more time. So you obviously have to shorten the ribs to hips to come up, but then you're thinking, or maybe cueing as the teacher, to not let this pop too much or go too much back out into full length. If she tried to come up and let her elbows be all the way down, will you try that? It's really hard to come up into thoracic flexion with the elbows open straight to the side. Good, you don't have to keep doing that. Because the scapula are working against you instead of assisting you in the movement. So after we've progressed to being able to do this properly with the elbows staying in the correct place, then we've got this nice thoracic flexion. We don't have lots of tension in the neck, and the hands just become a hammock or a support for the head. Instead of the head being what you're trying to lift, it's the abdominals lifting the entire upper body up. Okay, you can lower back down. I hope that was helpful.